around and say, "Look, you're sitting in a park and you're doing this, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but these guys right in front of me are, camping in the park right in front of me. I mean, this also is infringing into my. I mean, look, we can play the same game, right? And I know my rights, so I mean, I can also say Miranda." And he looks at me and say like, "Oh, okay." And he went away. So I mean, look, I just did that, took my rights, right? And I told him I was right here just to look at what's going on, because as a citizen journalist, not telling for who I'm working or if I'm working for someone, but just being myself.
Mhm.
I was being independent and just being there for my own
Sure.
curiosity. So
You have every right to be there. It's public space.
exactly. So,
Yeah.
I'm doing my thing and they're doing their job. And like I told him, I said, "Look, the only thing I'm doing is filming if there's something going on. And I mean, I would argue that you are here to protect me if something happens. So here's,
Mhm.
the job that we all do. So, I mean, you got your job, I got mine. And this is what it is."
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Let's take a quick break. Stay right where you are. Gonna run a little promo, and when we come back, Joseph will join the conversation as well. So don't go away, Dragon. Don't go away, Maverick family. I will be right back with our other Mavericks.
The New World Order. Government overreach. The Great Reset. Mainstream media lies. Now more than ever, independent voices are needed. Donate now at freedomreporters.com. That's freedomreporters.com. Maverick News. The antivirus program for your mind.
Okay, let's bring Joseph in all the way from Detroit, the Motor
Hey,
City. You know, Detroit should be part of Canada. Do you know why? You know
I
why?
go ahead.
It's because there's so much shared history
Yeah,
between Detroit and Windsor, and even where I live here in Chatham, Ontario, which is only an hour away from the Windsor Detroit border. Fort Detroit. I think of the War of 1812, and you know, I just think of all that history. You guys, you need to separate from the United States and join Canada.
most I know in Windsor would flip that. Say they need to be as bad as we are here. You guys are worse right now. But we're on our way. So Windsorites, I think, would like to join Detroit Michiganians.
Yes, yeah, that's true. I lived in Windsor for over a decade. I love Windsor and I love Detroit. I absolutely do. Even the parts of Detroit that are kind of rough around the edges, I even love those areas because there's so much history, and even those areas have so much character. And I used to go over to Detroit like weekly on the weekends to just go around, check things out. You have the Fox Theater over there. You have so much talking about culture. Now, there's a city with culture. I actually, and I don't tell my Torontonian friends this, but I think Detroit has more culture than Toronto by far.
Well, Toronto kind of, as far as livable space, is bigger and better. But yeah, Detroit, we've got the Mexican town, kind of the little Chinatown
Yeah.
area, a Polish town, aka Hamtramck. Uh, so
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, in a sense, but yeah, you're referring to uh,
But it's not
down,
it's not it's not the diversity and the multiculturalism. I'm talking about just the city, the architecture, you've got Motown over there, man. You've got, so much music history. You
yeah.
have uh, you know, you just go into the downtown area, you look around and you can feel it.
And thankfully downtown Detroit is kind of expanding out. because that's the only place they've ever spent any money. The
Yeah.
rest of the 99% of the multi miles of Detroit city limits looks like Hiroshima after the
Mm.
bomb hit, still, even after all these years. But yeah, now, have you been? Likewise, though, too, I used to go to Windsor all the time. But after 9/11, of course, it's a pain in the butt to go over there. So I
Mm.
haven't been over there in decades, but I used to spend a lot of time at California's Musical Roadhouse by
Yep. I
the
remember
Walker
that. Yeah.
plant.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But have you been to oh God, what's it called with the funky houses? The German name. Oh,
The
I'm
funky houses.
yeah, it's named after that German street name. Oh, I'm drawing a blank on it. I'm gonna go over. Carry on while I jump over to Google.
That's okay. It's not really that important, but wherever it is, I've probably been there. Yeah. I don't know.
Oh,
Well, I never
Oh
yeah,
been
my.
to Detroit, but I can probably show you some part of Montreal that look like Detroit.
I don't know. Detroit's been through a lot. See, that's part of the culture, though. That's part of the history, with the automotive industry building up and the Industrial Revolution. And then they've been through so many periods when the economy has taken a nosedive. And, they've had the culture wars over there, of course. And, the,
1920s was pretty
yeah,
hard for them.
yeah, so, yeah, the Depression
yeah.
was pretty
I
bad.
I got it. The Heidelberg Project,
The
Heidelberg
Heidel.
Street. If you go up Gratiot North on
Oh,
the right side, Heidelberg Street, there's an artist who has taken over a bunch of half of it was burnt down. Of course, some you can't have nice stuff these days. Some
mm,
asshole burnt down a few of the buildings, but he took over a bunch of the abandoned houses and kind of one has got polka dots all over it. One has got teddy bears stapled all over it. It's kind of weird, but it's kind of neat at the same time. And the artist has a house there. He goes to every once in a while and does more Heidelberg project
I
stuff.
haven't been there.
You should that's worth going. And then of
Mm.
course Henry Ford Greenfield Village. You
Oh,
can't
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Greek town, but I don't mention Mexican town and Greek town for the DEI diversity bullshit because while those are indeed little communities, uh, mostly because people are born into them and they stay there, it's not as if they're fortresses to keep other people out. We are in Detroit the true American melting pot, right?
Yes. Yeah.
True diversity. Leftists do not believe in real diversity. They only believe in the DEI woke shit version of diversity.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so this is what you're talking about, right? The Heidelberg Project, transforming a Detroit street into outdoor art gallery. I have seen this on the news. I have not been there.
it's pretty, it's not a day, it's a couple hour thing to wander around and that's it. But it's kind of neat to see it once because I mean, this has been done in Europe a few times. So somebody said, hey, I'm going to do that with Detroit. Heidelberg Street, there's all these vacant houses. I could do this. And he did.
Yeah,
I
and
think,
see,
I think
speaking of Motown, there's a house that's decorated with old vinyl records.
I think that's one of them that was burnt down, though. I
Oh,
don't think you'll
perfect.
be able to
That's not
see that, though.
wonderful.
I know. Isn't that
Bummer.
bastards? You know,
Burning down our memoriam or these kind of beautiful house because they have some artistic type of thing on it. I mean, it's like vandalizing an old memoriam to
So
me.
what he's done here is he's kind of taken the lead on this, built up the community by taking old, kind of rundown, even condemned houses and turning them into works of art so that it brings people to the community and injects some economic activity. Is that pretty accurate?
Exactly.
Right.
It
Right.
creates an economic boost. And there are still regular residents that live in and among all these houses that are there that are actually lived in. They're not all abandoned.
Yeah, so this is, I think this is quite intelligent, and it shows that where there's a will, there's a way. People will find a way to survive. People can make a difference and turn things around and improve their community. And this is a real good start. It's a very unique way to address some pretty serious social issues.
Yep. Take 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 75 north or south or 94 west east into Detroit, or
Mhm.
of course coming across the bridge or the tunnel, and soon the Gordie Howe Bridge will open. You'll be able to get on 75 north and go to Gratiot Avenue north. Heidelberg's about a mile and a half up on the right. That's where the Heidelberg project is.
Well, give me a quick comment on this right wing or conservative political wave that seems to be sweeping through France tonight. Do you think that what's your assessment of that, Joseph?
Long overdue. I mean, uh, finally, the frog in the boiling water finally recognized it's fucking hot in here. It's and it's time to jump out of the pot.
Do you think this
Oh,
will is this a sign of things to come in other countries? Are we going to see similar conservative waves in other Western countries?
I sure hope so. Anyway.
The,
And I don't say necessarily entirely conservative either,
mm-hmm.
even populist, although I'm not a fan of that word because Bernie Sanders is also called a populist, but he's kind of a
Yes.
leftist populist, whereas Trump is kind of a center right populist. I don't call Trump right.
Yeah.
I don't call him conservative. He's not on a lot of things. But yeah, he's kind of a center right populist. If we can get center right populism across the western part of the free world, then things would definitely help be better.
Are we in danger though of shifting things maybe too far to the right? Are we in danger of spilling over into fascism?
Oh, there you go. There you
I'm
go.
asking.
Fascism is a leftist thing.
Well,
You
yeah, I mean,
have
I agree with you. It just depends on how you draw the chart. But this is what I'm getting at. I'm saying we're getting convergence on the extremes here. So you get some people who are supposed to be left, and you get some people who are supposed to be right. And I do see distinctions there, but they're coming together.
that's what happens with populism,
Mhm.
not conservatism.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So are we
Yeah.
in danger of that happening?
I don't think so, but some will. Obviously, the Biden regime is warning, oh my God, it'll be the end of democracy, which,
Mm.
hey, asshole, we're not a democracy. We are a constitutionally limited constitutional republic. Our House is direct democratic elected. Unfortunately, the 17th Amendment, which needs to be repealed, destroyed the 10th Amendment, states' rights, because now our senators, two from each state, that's supposed to be the Senate, is the state's body. They are supposed to be appointed by state legislatures, not direct election by the public. That was a 17th Amendment was a destruction of the brilliance of our founders' checks and balances.
Mm. What about you, Dragon? What do you think? Especially, from a Canadian perspective, are we seeing a shift to a more conservative, right wing, populist political wave? What are your thoughts? What do you see on the streets? You've been out there covering these protests over the last month or so, and you have your finger on the pulse in your part of Quebec. What's going on up there?
Well, I see a shift, yes, but the shift will be into how people will probably just agree easily or not on something. And when they just don't agree, they just don't do nothing. So there's I will call that a um, lack of activation here. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, what I see is that we see a leftist, I think, turn on around. I mean, with the Palestinian crowd, for example, it's looking bad. I mean, there's things that makes me think that sometime soon we're gonna have an uproar, but the uproar might just be a bunch of guys who's angry and just pissed enough to do some crazy things on the street, and some of us will be tangled in the between. And most of the Canadian or the Quebecers here in Montreal will just probably witness the whole thing because they will go like, "What's going on?" It's like, yeah, I see that coming pretty much from here. So it's kind of crazy.
I think people are losing their patience with some of these pro-Palestine protests. I'm not sure where this
Some
was
do.
shot, but this lady in this video, you can see what she's doing with her finger as the protesters are walking by. Yeah, this is actually, I think, what is this? Is I think this is a pride parade where they're supporting Palestine. So I think you have, you know, the LGBTQ plus S community out there saying free Palestine. Meanwhile, of course, the Palestinian Hamas, they don't support gay rights at all.
Yeah.
So here she
Well,
is, fed up with them, as you can see.
this was in New York,
Was it New York? Okay,
I think, because
that would make sense.
there were no Pride Walk today in Montreal.
There were in Toronto. Big thing
Yeah,
in Toronto again today.
I've heard of the same thing kind of happening also in New York, I think. So, I mean, I'm not sure where this footage is from, but I mean, it's you see the frustration is growing around. So, yeah.
Yeah, we'll talk about frustration. I'm frustrated with the lunacy that I'm seeing from people because look at this one. Just listen to what this lady says and then look at her.
Fuck him. You're just a white person. You're a white person. Get out. We don't like white people. Oh. Free Palestine!
What is that? Is
Hey,
she, I don't know. Is she white? I don't know what she
I,
is. I don't know.
she looked
Maybe
a
she.
little less than full. Like she's
I
certainly
guess
not
maybe. Yeah.
Tom Shalhoub white, but
We don't
Rick,
like white people around here.
Rick,
and I give
can,
her credit for being honest. I
Okay.
want them to be honest.
Sure. Yeah.
can I see it once again?
Sure. Yeah. Of course. Here we go. Here she is. I guess. Yeah. Maybe she's not. I don't know. I'm bad. I'm terrible at figuring out what the
Okay, so
ethnicity of people is.
so maybe that her brunette hair is a race or a culture on its own.
I don't know.
You're just a white person. You're a white person. Get out.
You're a white.
We don't like white.
It, it, it's like if I would say, guys, I'm Caucasian and you two are Caucasian, and I don't want to speak with any Caucasian.
You know what I think this is here is the anti-Semitism. They associate Judaism and white. Now, why? I don't know, because I know blacks that are Jewish. I know whites that are Jewish and every shade in between. So there is no connection. That's like Whoopi Goldberg on The View the one day, what was it, months ago, and she said, Hitler was right. Jews are not a race. Now she got a bunch of heat. I was one of the few people that said, like a stop clock, she was actually right for a change. Judaism is a faith, is a religion. Blacks, whites, and everywhere in between. It is a class of people, not a race. We are one human race with different skin tones. We are subcultures and subclasses. And then, of course, obviously, I got heat for defending Whoopi on that. So Whoopi was right, but for the very wrong anti-Semitic reasons.
Speaking of sub this and sub that, when you're at war, the first thing you do is you dehumanize your enemy. Now, I've noticed that over on InfoWars, they're pushing a new book. I have not read it, don't really know what's in it, but I'm concerned by the title because it's called The Unhumans. I'm worried about that just a little bit. Are you familiar with the book, or do either of you know anything about it?
No.
First I've heard of it, Rick, is you mentioning it.
Yeah. I've noticed that the narrative coming out of InfoWars at times, it seems benign, but it isn't. I think that the language that they use to promote ideology over there at times, it cloaks the true message, and then over time it sort of permeates. And when I see a title like The Unhumans, they're selling people, I think, maybe, and I'm gonna have to find out more about it, but I know they talk a lot about transhumanism. But if you transpose or superimpose these sort of abstract ideas onto groups of people, then when you condition people through ongoing media campaigns in a particular way, then you can shape their minds, shape the way that they view people. When you kind of peel off the layer of facade and then expose what it is you really meant later.
Yeah.
And people that are easily indoctrinated into a really negative idea. I was saying this for a long time when they kept using the word elite. People use the word elite in a lot of different ways in various contexts. But I noticed, especially at InfoWars, that they kept using the word elite over time. And I said, about 4 months before they did this, I said, they're going to replace that word elite with Jew and Zionist. That's what they're going to do. And then they finally did. It was about 3 months after I said that they were going to do it. It took me a while to figure out that what they were really doing was promoting old tropes in masked language, changing the words to make it more palatable and have people not understand what it was they're really selling.
And unhuman, that's leftardism language. That's demo KKK rat language. Blacks weren't human, so they could be slaves, right? Now, babies aren't really human until they come out the birth canal. So they can be slaughtered. That's leftist language, twisting, warping language. Exactly. I've written on that several times. It's in my Constitutionalist Politics book, the first one. Exactly. Twisting and warping of language to be something else, like you said, because they can't come out and say that, kill all the Jews, but kill all the elites when they really mean Jews, then that's
because who are the elites? Who are the elites? It's the people who control the banks and the media and the pharmaceutical industry. And those are the people who are trying to murder you. And, by the way, they're the elites. I mean, the Jews. It's really what it comes down to. That's what they're. And here's Kanye West. Speaking of anti-Semitism and charges thereof, he's over in Russia right now. And I guess he's a rock star in Russia. I just came across this before we came online tonight. And he's wearing his, what is that on his head? Looks like he's embracing what?
It's
Wahhabism.
Wahhabism? Is that what he's
Wahhab
into? A hobbyism?
Wahhabism. Yeah. Now you mentioned Alex Jones. I wanted to say before I forget, he
Mhm.
may be right on some things on occasion, but again, so is a fucking stopped analog clock, right? I don't pay any attention to Alex Jones. I avoid him like the plague. He's a moron. He's a screw up. He's a useful idiot a lot of times. And in fact, I think in many cases he's controlled opposition so that everything indeed can be labeled conspiracy and dismissed.
Mm, mm.
So
Yeah,
that
I
book,
don't know.
Unhuman, that's why I wouldn't know it. Anything that's tagged with Alex Jones, immediately I discount it. Find a legitimate other source. He may be right on something, but if he's right, guess what? There's probably a bazillion other actual legitimate sources you can and could and should be quoting on it.
Well, he's
Mm.
been wrong about a lot of things too. I remember if you go back to last fall, he was saying, "Oh no, more lockdowns coming. It's going to happen within the next few weeks." And here's one example because there were places that were trying to get people to mask up again, hospitals, places like that. So he was pointing to them. It was about a 1 week period, and he said, "Oh, here it is. This is it. It's coming. You have to. We're all going to be locked down, and the mask mandates are coming back. Blah 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 blah." And it never
Well,
happened. It never
there's a
happened.
I'll give them a little slack on that.
Yeah,
There's always a little degree of hyperbole, and
sure.
if we don't sound the warning on those examples of that it could come back,
It could, but no, he
it
said he
will come
was.
back.
It was fear mongering at the time. That's what it was. And there's lots of that that goes on over there. But
Well,
anyway,
it,
no,
Yeah,
I didn't
well,
mean to start beating up on Alex Jones. He's got enough problems as it is with his fines that he'll never be able to pay.
yeah, what's
Wow.
it up to, like 3 trillion now that he owes people?
I can't count that high. I have to take my shoes and socks off and start using my toes, and even then, I don't have enough of them. So, boy, oh boy,
Well,
oh
we know
boy,
you got those extra toes because you're really, speaking of
I'm an
Alex Jones,
unhuman.
exactly. And speaking of
he's a
Alex
fossil.
Jones,
Well, do you like my
speak,
mask? Do you like my
yeah,
mask? You like it?
speaking of Alex Jones, let me make
You
that
see, this is
conspiracy
not
right
really.
now.
You know.
Rick
Look. Of
Rick
course,
Warner is an
look.
alien.
You see, it's my mask. You see,
He's
look.
Biden is
he,
underneath.
he's an alien.
You see that?
Remember
It's
remember the movie They Live? That's Rick.
who do you think I really am under my mask? Who am I? Because
Let me put my glasses on.
you know what I'm getting at, right? Do you understand what I'm getting at?
Yeah, there's Biden with a mask, or
Yeah.
supposedly
Yeah,
false Biden with a mask.
that wasn't really Biden at the debate. That was one of the other Bidens. It was a Biden in a mask. Well, I've got my mask on
The
right now.
CIA actually supposedly have done a lot of research on how to, make a double of someone by with a mask.
See, I just
I
proved
I
it.
I responded to somebody on Truth Social today peddling that. It's like, picture of him then, and I responded, well, the more sunken, thinner face can be attributed to weight loss via age. The other thing regarding the eyes and the chin and some features, that's very interesting. But who fucking cares? You're not going to change one vote with moronic, stupid Alex Jones shit like that. How about we focus on shit that matters that can sway some independent?
No, Rick. No, you don't know what you're talking about. No, really, it's masks. You have to learn about the masks, Rick.
Westworld, he's really a robot.
Yeah. six
Well,
million dollar man, the fembots and then Westworld, yeah, yeah.
Westworld was a good series, and yeah, I recommend it to everyone if they want to look into humanism or transhumanism.
Those shows though, guys, that wasn't science fiction. That was predictive programming. Don't you know? That's what that
Oh,
was,
oh,
man.
you were mentioning the shirt, embroidered shirt earlier. Here's one of
Yes,
them. I'm
yes.
modeling one.
Yeah, you've got one of the polo shirts. We have to get some of those made. I have a couple of those left from the last batch. Oh, hey, he's got. Look at. I'm the only one not wearing a Maverick shirt tonight. There you go, rock and
It does.
roll.
Hey, Dragon, it doesn't do a whole lot of good though if nobody can see it, right?
Oh
Yeah, I know.
my.
When
Well,
when
anybody
I'm
behind him
walking on the
can.
street, I put my bags on the front so people can see the.
Now, here's the Pride Parade in Toronto, and look at all the cops. I got to tell you, I don't think I've ever seen so many police out for crowd control and security as I'm seeing in these images out of Toronto. All those guys in white, that's all security. Tons of cops down there today, too. Um,
I don't see much of them.
it's just, you can't really see it in the picture, but all the whole lineup of people along the side there, all security, security, security. And here's
Balance of security guards here.
security.
Lots of security guards for this one. Wow. Never saw that before.
Yeah, so what do you make of that?
What am I of that? Well, I've seen a lot of police today in Montreal street, but not for the same parade. Oh,
Uh-huh. 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 What parade did you see today?
it was a pro-Palestinian parade.
I see.
Right,
Right.
right before actually some festivities for the Canada Day. Which it's weird, eh? We have some funding for those parade, but not for Canada funding.
Yeah.
So was this a pride parade where they were supporting Palestine, or was this just a pro-Palestinian
No,
protest marching through the streets?
yeah, it was just a pro-Palestinian marching through the street. So
I
there's
see.
no pride in there.
So of course the cops are out. That's costing taxpayers money because they have to monitor that and keep everybody safe. Meanwhile, we don't have enough money for a Canada Day parade again this year. What does
Hmm.
that say about the state of our country, guys?
Well,
Uh,
they don't want anything patriotic. If
Right.
how dare you be patriotic and actually want a free Canada again?
It's anti-colonialism is what it is. Yeah.
it is. And I
Yeah.
will also argue that you made a good point earlier by, when we say that the opposition will try to dehumanize the enemy, right? Well,
Yes.
this is one way to do it.
Mm.
By taking your pride off your country, if you're not proud enough of your own country because, it's going down the hill.
Well, yeah, and part of what we've seen going on with these pro-Palestinian protests and encampments at the universities like McGill and UCAM, and I guess in Victoria Park or Park, what do they call it in Montreal? Parc de Victoria,
Square Victoria.
Square Victoria. They're vandalizing monuments, statues. They've taken that protest directly to the park named after Queen Victoria. You're taking it right to the very heart of Canadian history,
Yep.
colonial history, if you want to call it that. So that's what I'm saying, man. Canada is absolutely under attack. Now, maybe you think that's a great thing. I would say that it's not such a great thing, even if you're a First Nation in this country. That history in Canada, more so even than in the United States, we have treaties that protect the sovereignty of First Nations communities as nations within a nation. And if you tear everything down, those treaties will be null and void because the Canadian government would no longer exist. So I see protecting colonialism in Canada as a path toward actually protecting First Nations rights and sovereignty. But
Hmm.
I don't think people understand that.
No, most of the people like.
Oh, we lost you there, Dragon.
Oh, he looks like he froze up.
Yeah, he
Uh
did.
oh.
Well, that's okay. Well, we can talk about other stuff while we wait for him to come back. Um, Now, I guess we should probably start talking a little bit Joseph about the other Joe, Joe Biden.
I'm back.
So there you are. So we're gonna transition over here now.
Hey,
Have Joe talk about Joe. What do you think? Now I understand Joe Biden went to Camp David to ponder his political future. He surrounded himself with family, surrounded himself with his closest advisors, his inner circle, to consider what he might do. Will he continue with his campaign, or will he step aside and make way for someone younger to run in his place? What do you think he will do?
First
yeah,
pass to
I,
Delaware, get a ice cream cone first.
Oh, well, yes.
I'm in the camp that it would be so hard given each state technically constitutionally runs its own election. And there are varying different laws in 3 or 4, potentially 5 states. Now that he's won the nomination, or at least, yeah, the only way to replace him would be by his death, and that would mean cackling Kamala. It is so hard to replace someone on a ballot in enough states. They could do it, but it would be hard. So I think I agree with those that say they're stuck with them. But hey, the left doesn't care about laws, the Constitution. They do whatever the fuck they want. So they may still try to replace him and just illegally replace him on ballots.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm.
who knows? But I did see, I don't know who it was today, one in the Biden inner circle finally came out and admitted Joe Biden is only really kind of coherent between noon and 4, and that's only still with the aid of that the chemical cocktail that they feed him. But to be fair, I mean, when you get older and ill, that happens. I'm only 62, but I have health issues. There was a period when I was really, really ill that indeed my hours of being coherent and cogent and really able to think and act and do things were probably between noon and 4. Even today, with my health, any earlier than 10 in the morning, I'm worthless. Any later than 10 at night, I'm worthless. But I'm nowhere near Joe Biden's degree. I don't have dementia, so and pray to God that I don't get there anytime soon.
Hmm. What do you think, Dragon?
Well, I think that we have first Biden declined, right? I mean, we probably gonna have David Newsom getting around, or like our friend Joseph like to call him, Gavin Screwsome. But yeah, I mean, this is one of these guys that might step up for the president. Meanwhile, you know what? I think that last time we did spoken about the how you call that, the beautiful confrontation between Biden and Trump, and I think that, like I said, and I was supposing that Trump will beat down this poor man, and he did, poor guy.
Yeah, well,
Sorry.
I think that Jill Biden will be the one most disappointed if 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 Joe doesn't make it to the finish line. This clip here, this is the one that just was most memorable for me following the debate in the day after.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the. And let me ask the crowd, what did Trump do? Lied! Yes.
Joe, you
He,
did such a good job. You're such a good boy.
yeah, pat him on the head. Yeah, Jill's right. Oh my God, you answered every question non coherently, but you answered every question. Woo!
You know what? We're going to Delaware get an ice cream.
Yeah.
Good boy.
A
Here,
trained
sit up pretty.
parrot.
Sit up pretty. Get your treat. Get your
A,
treat.
A trained parrot would have done better than Biden. And I've been joking, a trained parrot could have filled in for Trump. I said this 2 days ago. Remember, Rick? A parrot could have just said over and over, Polly want a cracker, Polly want a cracker. And then Laura Trump could have gone on the after hour shows and said, wasn't that a perfect analogy by the Trump parrot? No one can afford food. The parrot can't eat either. No one can afford food in Bidenomics.
So you don't think you think that they're stuck with him? You think he's going to stick around, eh?
60-40. I'm leaning 60 that's true, but there's still that chance because again, they don't give a damn about the laws. Look at the 2020 election. They used the Wuhan hysteria to send out ballots against several state laws to everyone. Look at Pennsylvania. They sent out 1 million ballots, got 2 million back. Can anybody do simple math there?
Totally
agree.
agree.
I guess this Pride Parade in Toronto was canceled mid-route today. They had some problems down there in TO. Let's just check this out. I wasn't aware of this until just now. So as I was just checking headlines, I just came across this. Let me bring this up. Where did it go? Where did it go? I just had it. Oh, come on. Oh, here it's, no, that's not it either.
Uh-oh. While
I'll
you're
get it.
hunting, Rick, yeah, Dragon, I'm glad your mic, whatever that was, cleared up. There's no more crackling. That's good because
Yeah.
indeed, when you first started, there was like a real annoying crackle. It's like, ugh.
Yeah. It was the echo cancellation and noise cancellation causing it. I adjusted the settings to fix that. So
Yeah, thanks to Rick.
here's the article. This is the Toronto Star reporting on it. Pride Parade canceled mid-route after protesters strand marchers and floats. Pride was canceled mid-route on Sunday evening after it was suddenly stopped on Yonge Street by a group of pro-Palestinian protesters. About 20 demonstrators calling themselves the Coalition Against Pinkwashing began holding signs and banners and chanting on Yonge Street. You know what we need to do? You know what we need to do? We need to call John.
You know what? And
That's what we're going to do.
The queers for Palestine in that gay pride parade still don't understand. No gays are being stoned to death here in the West. They are in that fake state of Palestine that the Arabs rejected grading 5 times.
You're live on the air with us, John. Just so be careful of your language. Although Joseph's needs a little soap for his mouth tonight, but but I want to know what happened with this parade. It got canceled mid-route today. What the heck's going on?
Grab the other phone.
Because I think John went down to that today, so he'll be able to tell us what happened.
Well, nobody showed up.
What do you mean nobody showed up?
No Jagmeet, no Trudeau, no nobody showed up.
Really?
Yeah.
No. So that was weird because I thought Trudeau was supposed to be in the parade with Jagmeet today, but
So did I, but nobody showed up.
that's weird. Maybe they had forewarning that the pro-Palestinian protesters are going to be there. I don't know.
I was all over. I was at the NDP booth for a while, waiting and waiting. I even asked them, "Oh, we don't know. We don't know." I said, "Jagmeet coming here or what? We don't know."
Huh.
They hang around. I went to the Liberal one. They don't know either.
That's interesting. So did you see what happened? Were you anywhere near the area where the parade was blocked by the protesters? Or probably not. You probably weren't in that section.
There's like 1 million people down there.
Yeah.
You think I'm going to hang around with these guys? I took off. I went to just walking around.
Yeah.
And then it started getting really busy. We went into the what the hell was it? Woody's gay bar on Church Street.
So you went to a gay bar?
It's the most famous bar in the world. Woody's.
I've never heard of it.
Well, now you have.
But I'm
Woody's.
so sure that's how that's how well known it is. But I don't go to bars really. That's not my thing.
I went in there and we sat down, and there's another older couple next to us. I guess him and his wife, and there's a service dog there. He was all over me. I took pictures of it. You guys see his eyes, man. Beautiful eyes on the service dog.
Oh yeah.
It was all over me. He just wouldn't leave me alone. And so I was being well protected with those other yahoos in there. I just go there. A lot of warped people in Toronto. I don't know. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I'm just running footage here from the Pride Parade, I guess today in Toronto, and there's some dude with a great big giant black Frankenstein boots wearing a parade marshal black thing.
Maybe I took a picture of that because I know I took some pictures of the.
I don't know, man.
I was taking pictures of some people with these weird get-ups. Oh, who's that guy? I have to back up. No, I never seen that guy. He's a flake. What's wrong with these guys? I don't know.
Well, they would say there's nothing. They'd say there's nothing wrong with me.
Look at that girl. Look at that. The guy with his.
And viewer discretion is advised. Oh, this is from yesterday, actually. Here's
It was fun, but I'm getting bored of this stuff. I've been there so many times, and it used to be better. It's all Chinese now, and
what do you mean?
it's all immigrants.
Used to be
little
better?
Kids. Huh?
You say it used to be better?
It was, yeah.
Oh my God! Sorry, just be careful, folks. Oh, there's nudity alert. Sorry, I didn't realize.
These are guys with the breast implants.
I don't think that's a good.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's a good. Well, this one's. That's a girl there. That one, I think. No, let me see. I can tell you.
I'm blind. I'm blind.
That was a guy.
I can't
I'm good at
unsee
spotting
that
these
now.
because I got lots of experience.
I have to rip my
now.
mask off now. I feel the skin off my face. Oh my God!
You
Okay.
don't have to peel it off. It's gonna melt.
I went into the Black Eagle too, which is probably the dirtiest bar down there, and they have real hardcore porn. All the screens in there. Woody's was good. They had the parade playing on the screens.
Why is that? What is there about this that's positive for our community? If it's nudity in the streets and porn in bars and what's good about any of that?
It's the gay village, Rick. You know that's their town there. The gay village. They're all flakes down there. You know that's what they do.
Uh-huh.
I got a question actually for John.
Yeah, Dragon's got a question for you, John. You can't hear him. I'll convey the question back to you. Go ahead, Dragon.
When was the gay village down your part of the woods has been erected?
What do you say?
No pun
I see his
intended.
lips move.
He wants to know when the gay village was erected.
Oh, yeah,
Because ours in Montreal
Well,
was in
before my
1980, so I want to know if it was
Dragon
before or
says that the
after
one in
us.
Montreal was erected in 1980.
It's probably around the same time then, probably, because I think they all started up at the same time. But back then, they were closet people, which was nice.
Mm.
Now they just go and flaunt everything. You know what I mean?
Well, it's not so much that I want people to be in the closet. This is my position on it. Yeah, I don't care, right? People can do whatever they want, but I'm not in favor of public nudity on the streets, especially where there are kids around.
Down there.
That's the thing for me, right? And they've turned this not just into acceptable behavior in public. They're promoting it, celebrating it more than normalizing it.
Yeah.
They've turned it into some celebration of decadence.
I refuse to look at a naked guy. You know what I mean? I would turn my head. This one guy, we walked right by him. He's on a lawn chair, those ones that you lay down on, right in the middle of the street. And that buck naked, young guy too, buck naked. He goes, "Look at my."
Like, when did that become legal? Why is this even allowed? I don't get
I
it.
just turned my head and I said, put my hand out, and I kept walking at the guy.
Like, I mean, if there's a specific nude beach for adults only, or even naturism, if parents approve and it's whatever, right? But to do it in public, I mean, I'm pretty tolerant, but I think for me it's too much.
I'm sitting there just relaxing because they're walking, and you see all these old naked guys walking with nothing on, nothing.
I don't, you know.
And they all got, some of them, I think they probably took Viagra to make it look bigger or something. I don't know, man, but it's sickening. I don't like that. It never used to be like that, Rick.
No, it never used to be. No.
They used to get arrested.
You get arrested if you walk around out in public nude, or they would take you to one of the institutions because you were nuts.
It's not like those laws. Not like those laws went away. They just ignore them.
This other place I went to, it was the Black Eagle, which is really hardcore, and the screens were all full of hardcore porn in there, and it was dark as hell. And I took a couple of pictures. Then I seen a sign: no pictures, no videos. And then there's a big lineup. I go, where are they going? So I asked the guy, I said, they're going upstairs. I go, what's upstairs? Oh, they have rooms upstairs. Like, what the hell's going on, Rick?
Right, yeah.
They got
it's a sex club. There. It's a sex club, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And this place is called the Black Eagle.
And you know, I don't even, honestly, John, I don't even care about that. If you want to go do that, you people should be free to do it. I just have a problem with public nudity, especially where kids could be around. To me,
a lot of kids there.
It's too much.
These people bring in the little kids.
And because when I see that, you know what it says to me as I'm watching this, and maybe some people are not going to like me saying this. It's like I hate to use the phrase clown world, but this is kind of what it is. They've literally turned our community into a circus, a circus of decadence, complete with, crazy, vibrant colors and men wearing clown-like makeup and costumes that's all theatrics. And it seems very disrespectful. It seems like flaunting. It's just an exercise in decadence and an assault on respectability.
It's not meant being women.
I seen the beginning of the parade because usually with the politicians they go in the beginning, eh?
Yeah.
And so I was up there to snap some shots of anybody, and nobody. I didn't see anybody there this year.
Yeah, Joseph wants to say something. Just pause. You can't hear him, so go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, drag queens. To your point, it's not about men being women. It's men dressing up as clown caricatures of women, like the old Bugs Bunny days, mocking transvestites. Remember that cartoon? It was mocking. It was Some Like It Hot when Fonda and whoever else dressed in drag. It was mocking. It was funny. It wasn't serious.
Well, they're certainly serious about it now. And I think there's messaging here that is thinly veiled. And I don't think it's positive messaging overall. I think it's gone way too far to the point where it is offensive to our sensibilities as a society. Personally, it's the public display of it, where it's voluntary to go down there, but not for everyone, because some people live in the area. It's I think it's an assault on our communities in many respects. It's not about acceptance anymore. It's about it's gone far beyond tolerance. And Justin Trudeau used that phrase at one point in a speech that he made a couple of years ago. We have to go beyond tolerance. No, if you go beyond tolerance, now you're getting into intolerance. You're not being you're telling people you must accept something, whether you agree with it or not. And in this case, I think it's going beyond that, and they're flaunting it in the faces of our society. It's an assault on our society.
It's grooming and recruitment.
Well, a lot of other parades are all pissed off because the Pride Parade gets like 2, 3, 4 times more funding than the other parades. Mm-hmm. And it's not fair why they get so much. I go down there and you see the stuff that they're giving away. Like Alvino, that cream for women, big bottles of it. It's like $20, $30 a bottle. They were giving the lineups as far as you can see, people just to get a couple of bottles. I got a nice tin cup with it looks like copper plated, shiny copper. Nice tin cup I got. There's some, you can fill there's so much stuff there. It's not.
Well, why would the pro-Palestinian protesters block the Pride Parade when you've got a bunch of people in the Pride Parade walking around saying free, free Palestine? Like, this whole thing is just insane, which, again, proves my point. It's just a bloody circus.
That was probably staged. It's probably staged.
Staged?
Because, yeah, it probably was. They just probably wanted to shut it down early because it's
that doesn't make sense to me either. Why? Like, I don't even know. Why would they stage?
Rick,
Go ahead, Joe. Let Joe speak. Joseph.
When you understand the issue is never the issue, only the revolution. It's all about anti-Western culture and tearing down the West.
But what's to be gained by having pro-Palestinian protesters block the Pride Parade when the Pride paraders are supporting the pro-Palestinian position, although the Palestinians don't like the gay people? So, like, I mean, it's just, what's the point? Like, what did they gain by doing that? They pissed off the people who are supporting them.
Yeah, that's true. But there was, they were also, you know how many, I noticed this year, a lot of Africans down there, black Africans, in these gay bars. Like, you like to dance, man. I'm just sitting there, I'm watching these guys dance. That's all they do is dance, but most of them are all black.
Okay. Does that bother you? Like, I don't understand. Why? Why does that bother you?
Actually, the more gay people, the more wearing for me. That's, you know what I mean? No, but
okay, all right. Well, John,
I've never seen it that bad before. Before you know, now, and they're all. Oh man, it's. I don't know.
Okay, I'm gonna let you go because if we're talking,
I'm gonna go next year, but I don't think I will. But
okay, I'm gonna let you go. Because if we're talking about dancing, I'm gonna run the Justin Trudeau dancing fool video again, and then we're gonna come back and resume our conversation with Dragon and Joseph.
It looked kind of boring this year.
Okay.
I was disappointed.
All right. Thanks, John. Talk to you later.
Bye. What does race have to do with any of this?
Nothing. I don't get it. I don't know. That's John.
Nothing.
I don't get it.
Again, it isn't race, it's class and culture.
Yeah, and it's about decadence. And you want decadence? Check out this decadent dancing from Canada's #1 dancing fool.
The beat goes on and I'm so
That's the way. That's Canada on this Canada Day weekend in 2024.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Well, you guys don't even know what to say about that.
Well, you know what? I'm speechless, as you say. Yes.
The only thing I could say, it's obvious RuPaul is Justin Gado's dance instructor.
So here's a new video from Hamas. This might, yeah, this might. I don't know. I'm just gonna run it. I'm not gonna say anything.
Wow.
Go ahead, comment.
Well, you know what? We have here a dysfunctional communication between two countries, right? Which spilled off in every other country. And that you see here is a propagandist video which present, well, what? Shells, right? Supposed to be shoot at who? Meanwhile, in Montreal, I've seen a little something that just came up. Some Hamas people have supposedly or allegedly attacked some ladies in Montreal again, which, well, probably was poorly one of our friends as a reporter, probably that has been, attacked, if you will.
Or you're
Which
saying,
is
was it
sad.
Alexa Lavoie who was attacked again by
Yeah, I think so.
protesters at one of the encampments?
There's a new thing that just came up on my notification, which is from Rebel News. So I would probably think so, but I didn't watch to know. But yeah, that's kind of sad, right? We see this at the same time that there's other footage or stuff coming like that. I mean, what are we looking at right now in our country, right? Pro-Hamas, Palestinian. I mean, we are under attack, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt about that. It's a different kind of warfare, and we're losing.
Oh, speaking of attacks, I forgot a joke earlier. Rick, you said people aren't going to like me for saying this. Well, they already hate you, so what the bleep difference does it make, right?
Yeah, that's true. And don't get me wrong, it's not about whether someone is gay or lesbian, transgender, no issues. Do whatever you want. I don't care. It's just the public display of nudity and decadence and sexuality where children could be present. I just don't think it's appropriate to put that out on the streets. I think that's why we've always had, laws about nudity. It
The
hasn't been legal.
and the LGB has a problem with the TQ. I have gay and lesbian friends. Again, I've said this on this show, and we have no problem with each other because we agree with do what you want in your bedroom. Don't shove it in people's faces on the streets. They would never participate in one of these clown parades. They are the tolerance and acceptance crowd, not the groomer pedophile recruitment crowd like the clowns on the streets are.
And I don't even care if they have like a parade. It's just, why do they have to be naked? I
Well, look, I got a gay friend myself, all right, or lesbian friend, and they told me that they won't be, attending to the parade because they think that their sexual orientation is now based on a political view, and basically you're using them as a weapon, as a
Yeah,
politician. So
I,
politics are using them as a weapon, and they are
they
not
are, I
agreeing
think,
with
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
they're useful idiots. Again, the issue is never the issue. It's about destroying Western culture. There are plenty of gay, lesbian Republicans. Look at the Log Cabin Republican Club, gay Republicans. Again, tolerance and acceptance, not recruitment, pedophile groomers. Yeah, they are leftists first, and they're happy to be used as part of the leftist agenda to destroy Western culture, where again, the LGB is not necessarily with the TQ
And
because the TQ are about leftist ideology, not tolerance and acceptance.
they're doing it now, but I think in the long run they're doing themselves a disservice because there's going to be pushback on this. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, and when you take things so far that you start to upset people, on a large scale, those people will eventually push back, and that's not going to be pretty. I don't think this is good for them, for the cause, honestly.
No, I agree 100% with you, Rick. My seat, Constitutionalist Politics, Season 1, Episode 48 show entitled Let Left Keep Pushing, Generational Shift Occurring. Studies I talk about in that show, it dropped May the 18th, and you can find that anywhere you find podcasts. Indeed, studies, surveys are showing our youth are indeed swinging rightward, swinging conservative. They've
Mhm.
had enough of this shit.
Well, and you see in other countries, like, if this is the irony in it, the queers for Palestine are out there protesting this stuff, and if they get their way, they'll end up with a society that is more like what you see in like Russia or other countries where they outlaw, this
They
kind of
won't.
behavior. It's against the law.
They won't
Mhm.
have the freedom they're using now. Right.
Right.
They're advocating for leftist, fascistic governance that once, again, the issue was never the issue. Once the left gets the full tyrannical power and one party rule like Russia or China, they will have no need for those youthful idiots anymore.
Seems to me
And they
like,
won't have
yeah.
the freedom.
And it just seems to me like sometimes they're not just letting it go. They're encouraging this kind of behavior so that they can justify the swing back on the other side, where they know that there's going to be pushback, and that gives the government more control in the long run. I would be very careful if I were from that community, because I think it's going to come back to hurt them in the end. But we'll
I
see.
see
I
the
don't mean that in
same.
an intolerant way.
Yeah.
I just,
Can we take a break on
yeah.
TMI? But I need a potty break.
Yeah, sure. Joseph, we'll run a little promo here, and um, we'll be right back.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching. Maverick News. Fighting for freedom.
Okay, I'm back, and Dragon is back, and Joseph is back.
Oh, I got put back in the bottom box. Yeah, I'm turning 62 this year, and I'm up front. I'm on disability. I have a lot of health issues, and of course, part of that is the need to go. Number one and number two, referring back to the show the other day, we had the number two jokes far more often than just a decade ago, of course.
Well,
sadly,
that's what happens when you get older. Here's these pro-Palestinian protesters blocking the Pride Parade today in Toronto.
Why did they not just plow through them?
Well, they're on their side. Like, they don't know what to do now. They're confused.
No pride in genocide.
Well, now there's no pride at all because there's no Pride Parade. They shut it down. I don't. This is stupid.
That's the irony there. Because again, if and when they are done killing all the Jews, they will engage in genocide against all the gays.
Well, I've heard similar today in Montreal on their march, and it was going along on not having any pride of being Montrealer because we are Zionists and Zionists are terrorists. So if you look at it, I would be also a terrorist myself.
Yeah, well, see, that's the whole thing, right? It's like they're just that Zionism has just become a euphemism for Jews or anyone who likes the Jews. This is like an expanded Jew. Now everybody can be the Jew that they hate because if you see, now they can direct it at anybody they want. But that's what it is.
Twisting and warping and expanding the language so it means little. Orwell, 1984, Newspeak. The left must engage in Newspeak and warping language because they cannot be honest about their positions.
And we see in France tonight, Marie Le Pen, right on the right side of the political spectrum, winning over there in this election. And as a result, now you're getting this on the streets with Muslims attacking police. Or Islamists, or anyway.
So you're saying Le Pen is mightier than the sword? Boom, boom.
Is this what's coming to Canada?
I hope not.
And the United States also. Well, we already have it with the black lying Marxists and the Antifa, who aren't anti fascists. They want to rein in a leftist fascist government. They lie about who they are.
Indeed, they do, yes.
Well, you see, in Montreal, they will say we want Antifada, we want, those group which are notorious terrorism, right? And I mean, they will advocate for them while preaching for not being communist or fascist or call it what you will. So, I mean, in a way, you're like, uh, it's like um, a priest, okay, who would preach for killing, which is not a Catholic kind of thing to do. It's basically two world.
And here's a Pride Parade in Seattle, controversial, sparking off more controversy because this drag queen is performing on the street with a child. People don't like this. A lot of people don't like it.
Clown. That's every bit as horrifying as Pennywise in It.
By Bill Skarsgård.
Disgusting.
Well,
And again, what does the drag queen do? Goes and grabs a child to help groom and recruit that child because they're pedophiles.
Well, I mean, what is a pedophile? I mean, when you say pedophile, are you talking about someone who actually engages in sexual acts with children, or is that pedophilia to you? How do you define it?
It's someone who wants to normalize it so they can openly engage in it. Like they want to eliminate the term pedophile. Again, twisting and warping a language. It's MAPS, minor attracted persons. Oh, isn't that so much nicer?
Well, here's Tulsi Gabbard on the whole Biden thing again.
If you've been paying
New
attention to any
video.
of the chatter after the debate between President Biden and President Trump, you'll hear a lot of people saying that President Biden should step aside. Here's the reality, though, is that whether or not Biden is replaced by the Democrats, the insane
Doesn't
and
matter.
dangerous policies of the Democrat elite are going to continue. That's not going to change because this has never been about Joe Biden. It's always been about the Democrat elite and their friends staying in power so that they can continue to push their agenda to engulf the world in war and to continue their theft of our liberty. If you've been paying attention to any of the chatter after the debate between President Biden and
she's spot on. Spot on. But again, although Tulsi denies it, I still think and will maintain she's a Klaus Schwab, World Economic Forum stooge and only changed parties because it's her only path to power, potentially positioning to try to be Trump's VP, which then gives her a shot at the White House she would not otherwise have. I don't trust her, but she's spot on there.
Well, she does make a point.
I'm seeing Bill O'Reilly online making a social media post saying that the decision has been made that Biden will be replaced because he can't win. I don't know where he's getting his info.
Yeah, I saw that all over Truth Social today also, and Like I said, I think 40% are with Bill on that. I'm in the 60 that think it's far too late, gone too far. The laws become a problem. But again, the 40% could be right because the left doesn't give a flying you know what about the laws. They will skirt the laws, they will ignore the laws, just like they did in 2020. Ignored states' laws. If the state says you can't change the candidate, they will do it anyway.
Mm-hmm. As part of it, that's true. Well, I know where he didn't got his info from. Probably Biden being kicked out before next election. It's probably not coming from the White House.
Well, here's a counter protest within the protest that was stopped by protesters who are pro-Palestinian, and now you've got the pro-Palestine LGBTQS plus protesters getting stopped by the Palestinian protesters, and then within the LGBTQS plus pride parade, you also now have protesters saying there's no pride in anti-Semitism. So here, I'll show you. Talk about a circus. For something that's supposed to be inclusive, sure do need a lot of security to keep people from beating each other up.
Is it me or this thing is getting more complicated day after day?
It's a circus. It is. I hate to use the phrase because I don't like it, but this is literally a clown show. That's what it is. It's just the people don't make any sense.
Minus the VW microbus that 50 of them pile out of, right?
Look, man, it's like, hey, you want look at this. You think it's not a clown show out there? This is the New York subway. This is what's going on in the New York subway. Oh, hang on a second here. I lost my spot.
And there's a reason they chose June. It used to be Christian Heritage Month. They wanted to co-opt and destroy the Christian Heritage Month.
Okay, look at this going on the New York subway. You tell me that this isn't a clown show. The whole world's being turned into a clown show. Look who it is. It's Chucky.
Give me my fucking bag. What is wrong with you? What the fuck? What the fuck? Get the fuck off of me. What are you doing? Get off of me. Get off of me. What's wrong with you? What the fuck is going on this fucking train?
Now, you know what the difference between Chucky and me is? You know what the difference is?
What?
None, because you know why? Chucky's wearing his mask, and I'm wearing mine. I'm wearing my mask too.
Call back!
Look, you think this is? Look, I'm proving it to you right now. Look, see my mask?
I did not see that callback coming, Rick. But no, hey, Chucky, he's just expressing who his inner reality is. It's his truth. You gotta let him do that stuff.
Told you, man. Just
fucking snowflakes.
Hey, wait! Snowflakes will melt at this warm day. I mean, it's too warm to be a snowflake.
Just
a thought.
Yeah.
I mean, they just want as much chaos again, the issue is never the issue. The more chaos, the more crime. As Franklin, was it Franklin? I think. Those who trade freedom for security deserve neither. It's about chaos. The more chaos, they hope drives more people to fascism to then control it all. And we all lose our freedoms.
Mm-hmm.
Issue is never the issue. It's only about the obtaining and keeping of power. And again, if there's a drag queen in this audience, how are you too stupid to understand you are a useful idiot and a tool for the left and the fascocrats, as I call them in the US, or the Trudeauites in Canada? Once they have no use for you, like we talked earlier, Rick, once they're done with the Jews, they're coming for you next. Once you're no longer useful to and for them, you will be cast aside. And that's why they don't teach history in school, because you idiots, if you learned that, would understand that. Look at
It's
that
a little
face,
bit
Rick.
true. I
Oh,
mean,
it's 100% correct.
rewriting history and make your youth forget about the past to make sure that you don't agree or you wouldn't do anything against what they will try to attempt on you. So makes sense.
I wish I were wrong. I wish I were just paranoid and delusional. I really wish I were. But the last 5 decades, it only gets worse and worse and worse. Never a temporary pause in Reagan, a temporary pause in Trump's first term. But beyond that, it's all a march to insanity, immorality, destruction of Western values and principles. I wish I were crazy.
Oh, you mean you're not crazy?
Well, there's different kinds of crazy. Like one of my favorite memes. I've got two favorite memes. It's like, I may be crazy, but crazy is better than stupid. And the other one is, you don't have to be crazy to be my friend. I'll train you.
Well, I like Joker crazy, being a agent of chaos. Well, I'm living in the between of the chaos of Montreal, so I gotta make
Oh my God. Speaking
do
of
I,
chaos, have you seen this WestJet strike? They've now canceled something like 800 flights. 800 flights.
Why?
There's a labor dispute with the mechanics.
Oh.
So WestJet
Okay.
airline in Canada, mechanics strike forced the airline to cancel now over 800. That upends the plans of about 110,000 travelers this Canada Day long weekend.
Yeah. Now, you know me, I can't pass on the lame pun. This is a very serious thing, but remember the band? Call up Mike, he can get the mechanics. I'm sorry. I I can never pass no matter how lame the pun.
That's a lot of flights. That's a lot of chemtrails.
Oh, there you go. Look on the bright side.
I
Alex
got
Jones
another
will.
theory here, and it's probably far fetched, but with the geopolitic thing that is going on all around the world, there's probably some more flight to be canceled because there's going to be a no air flight zone somewhere because things are going crazy in that part of the world. I don't know. It's probably a thing. Oh, it's probably just too crazy to think, though.
Well, Well, that kind of gets us near the bottom of the hour. I have a report that I put together on the Loads of Love humanitarian organization, and I was going to run that tonight, but I'm going to save it. I'm going to save it for tomorrow. So, yeah, just because the clock is ticking, and it's going to tie into another interview that I have scheduled for tomorrow, I think, too. So it'll kind of match up with that, I think. What do you guys think?
Well,
do you care? No.
No, well, it's up to you, sir. I mean, I'm all good for a good conversation. You know me.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
I was just busy typing something in the public comments there about, because Betty said something about Satan and the world, and I said, yeah, sad, Betty, but true. Satan does seem to be gaining more and more control over this worldly realm, but we all know God wins in the end. But we must keep pushing back. We must keep pushing back. So yes, yeah, I'm up for that. Like I said, I'm usually good between 10 and 10. It's not 10 yet.
All right. Okay. I'll run the piece. This is I'm going to take run a little break and then come back and we'll run this. Okay. So hang on. The Loads of Love humanitarian feature report coming up right after this.
Maverick News. Fighting for freedom. Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
So let's take a look at the Loads of Love humanitarian organization. This is based in Chatham-Kent, Ontario, Canada, but they do work all around the world. They collect donated goods, everything from hospital beds to food, and they distribute it to those in need, especially in places where there are natural disasters or wars. Welcome to the Loads of Love warehouse, distribution center, and thrift store. This is where the magic happens. This is where volunteers work every day sorting donated goods. Some will stay here in the thrift store to help people who are in need locally. When there's a fire or a family in need, they can come here, and this volunteer organization steps up. Other items will go into the thrift store. Again, this is entirely run by volunteers. No wages paid out. The revenue from the thrift store funds the entire operation.
This is Xander.
Hello.
He's a wonderful, wonderful guy.
How you doing?
Good.
Very nice to meet you.
Yeah,
You too.
He's great.
Here for the news?
Yeah, I am. But it's the overseas work that is the biggest challenge. Donated goods are loaded into shipping containers, huge shipping containers, and then sent overseas. And the immediate need right now, I guess, is in Ukraine because so many families are being displaced and there's so much destruction.
Yeah. Our last container, I think, was out, around 2 months ago, was sent to the Ukraine. So they're building up for another one, I guess.
Robert St. Pierre has been volunteering with Loads of Love for 4 years. Why do you get involved with Loads of Love? Why do you do it?
for the needy. It's to help other people, eh? Like all the stuff we send over there, them guys have nothing over there, eh?
Yeah.
So whatever we send there is good for them, you know?
Yeah.
We got lots here.
Yeah.
Eh?
And the immediate need right now, I guess, is in Ukraine because so many families are being displaced and there's so much destruction.
Yeah. Our last container, I think, was out, I think around 2 months ago, we sent to the Ukraine. So they're building up for another one, I guess.
Yeah. And it's not just Ukraine. You guys send stuff to
Zambia.
Yeah. Where else do you send it?
We're trying to get a load to Cuba. Now, it's a little tough to get into Cuba, but they're working on it.
Right.
So Herman Schinkel looks after that one.
I know Herman, yeah.
Yeah. So he keeps going over there anyway and working over there. So he knows what they need. So he's trying to get a shipment and see if we can send one over.
Right. So as you walk to the back here, you have an area where they pack stuff up, and over here, right back there, you have a thing called the therminizer. They invented that here. It's basically a big container, a shipping container, that they have insulated with special insulation, and then they heat the container up after they put the contents inside to 140 degrees Fahrenheit. That kills any bugs that might be present in any of the donated goods. Just explain to people how it works.
Yeah, well, we fill it up with clothing, all kinds of material, like, eh?
Yeah.
And lock the door, and then they turn the computer on and have it come on later in the day. You know, it's on overnight, and in the morning we open the door and it's hot.
Right.
And then we empty it and start filling another load in.
What do you use? Is it electricity that powers it?
Yeah.
And so you run it at a time when the price for electricity is at a lower point. I guess that's why you
time
time
it. At night anyway.
Right, when the rates are lower.
Yeah.
The therminizer was invented right here by John Cornelius, a volunteer. He passed away 6 years ago. His wife still volunteers here, and today they have a plaque up in the back office in his memory.
Well, at the time, bed bugs were a real issue everywhere, and we did not want people to be taking things out of here that had bed bugs. So he designed a container that he insulated really, really well and put a special furnace in there, and that's how it all started. So it's worked really well ever since that time, and that was, I don't know, 15 years ago or more.
But we don't put shoes in here or nothing because it'll melt the glue in the shoes.
Right.
We just take the shoes in and they sort them out and make sure they're okay.
Right, and this gets rid of any bed bugs or
anything,
crickets or anything, although they're trying to feed us crickets these days. But I guess if you find any, they're pre-cooked for you.
Yeah. People are pretty good, though. I myself personally have not seen a bug before or after we put it in here, but we still do it anyway just to make sure.
Right.
Because they can hide in places and the heat gets them.
And even cockroaches can't survive this. They'll survive a radioactive blast, but not this. Not the therminizer.
They don't like the heat.
Yeah, and this is entirely a Loads of Love creation. This is something that was developed right here by one of your volunteers.
Yeah.
The volunteers here say the greatest need they're trying to meet right now is in Ukraine, where civilians are under extreme pressure because of the conflict with Russia. Ed Dixon is the overseas director for Loads of Love. He recently made an appearance on Maverick News explaining how he has been coordinating deliveries to civilians in Ukraine, working with volunteers who are over there on the ground.
Loads of Love out of Chatham is shipping a container almost every couple months. So in the last year, we've shipped 6 containers from Canada, filled with all kinds of things that the children and other people now, because our work in Ukraine has spread out beyond the kids now, where we're supplying food to people along the front lines who have run out of food. And this sounds really crazy, but in the past 2 years, we've given groceries, like full sets of groceries that would last a family for 2 weeks, to over 200,000 families.
Like, you don't get any government money or anything. This is all like donations, right?
Most of it goes, all the stuff is all donations.
Yeah.
if you would have told me a couple of years ago that we'd give groceries to 10,000 families, I would have told you, wow, like how in the world would we do that? But it's just been unbelievable, the outpouring, obviously, as you guys know, from especially at the start of the war, from Canadians, just, to help people and not looking at the political situation, but just knowing that there were people in Ukraine that were really suffering because of this situation.
Why do you volunteer here?
Community service hours. Let's get her done.
And for you guys, it really isn't political at all. It's really just about helping people.
That's all it is. There's nothing political about it, really. You just like to help people.
Yeah.
I think we got almost 100 volunteers here that, and they're all volunteers, everybody. So it's good.
So what kind of things do you need donated?
We clothing, and we get some tools, but all kinds of dishes and all kinds of houseware stuff. And that's what they need. They don't get that stuff.
Yeah.
But we send a lot of clothing, and food too. The last shipment we had, I forget how many skids of food we got, and that was donated from somebody in Windsor, or Leamington, I guess it was, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess that went a long way. It fed thousands and thousands of people.
Where the fighting is most intense, the Loads of Love volunteers have stepped up to work tirelessly to get orphans, children out of those areas and to places of safety. How many kids have you brought over here to Canada? Any idea?
Yeah, altogether, we personally, our organization, was involved in bringing approximately 300 children now, to Canada together, some of them together with families, some of them individually. And then within Ukraine, probably moving, we moved 1,000 children together with other organizations in the beginning, and then a bit more than that eventually.
There are, of course, some overhead costs for things like electricity, for the building, but Loads of Love is not a government-run organization. It doesn't rely on government funding. It's funded entirely through donations, and because the entire organization is run through volunteerism, the money that is donated, the goods that are donated, it all goes to the people who need it. Loads of Love, a Chatham-Kent, Ontario-based organization that is viewed by some as a local charity, when in fact it's really global in action. Rick Walker, Maverick News.
Maverick News. The world is watching.
All right, gentlemen, go ahead.
Before we go on that breaking sports update, I got the Cat Red Blacks game on in the background, and unfortunately the Red Blacks are down by 1. I've got money on the Red Blacks. I used to be an Eskimos fan of the CFL, but of course they went woke and became the Elks. So now Edmonton Eskimos.
See, you definitely need to join Canada, Joseph.
Yeah. Oh, I love this. I love the NFL, the CFL, the arena football, the XFL, the USFL. Now, of course, joined the United Football League. I like all the sports, the main thing is I've written on that bread and circus, right? As long as we don't allow ourselves to be completely consumed in the bread and circus world, we need the deflections and the distractions on occasion. The trouble is those who are always glued to the boob tube and not paying attention to the important stuff that affects our lives, as we talk about on this show.
Well, the important stuff is helping people. And what did you think of that report, Dragon?
I think it was a beautiful report, and you know what? I wish long live to this beautiful. Um, you know, it's a beautiful organization. So I will just put out there my hat to them because they are helping a lot of people. And as a homeless guy who was once homeless, actually, yeah, I will say that it's beautiful. We all need a tending hand sometimes to help us out in the bad times. So
A hand up, not a hand out. And yes or no, nothing to do with politics. The Ukrainian people didn't bring this on or ask for it. The Russian people, if there are any in need, I want to help them too. It's
mhm.
not their fault their leaders brought us to this, even though they voted for them. Although, like in Russia, yeah, like that was really a real vote. Putin's been in power for 2 decades now. Spare me the Medvedev crap. He was, you know, a puppet uh, president while Putin was still prime minister. So Putin's been in control. He's dictator of Russia. I Fair and free elections there. Oh please, he gets elected as fairly as Biden was in 2020.
And in
So
this story, I mean, the point is that it's just about people
helping
helping people,
people.
Yep.
Yes.
volunteers. Honestly, like I've known the folks down there for long time, and it's all volunteers, no government money. They just show up. They just do it out of the because I guess they get fulfillment out of it. They get positive energy from doing this
Although
stuff.
I gotta call you out on something,
Yeah,
Rick.
yeah.
You did not do your journalistic integral duty and do the follow-up question to the one who said uh, community service. What was she charged with? Why she's on community service?
In no, there was no crime committed. Wait,
No
that's
ordered
that's a
community.
student, and in Ontario, in order to it's school credit. So
Oh,
every student has to perform community
and
service.
that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. We should have that here in the U.S. too. That's something I would
Hmm.
love to adopt from the Canadians. And actually, although I attack Putin and the Russian, uh, you know, fascistic state, they've got something right too. I want not military service force, but I think there should be military summer camp between junior high and high school age, or grade 8 before grade 9, because there's no discipline in schools. If we had a summer boot camp for all these spoiled little brats, that would help.
Hmm.
So yeah, and the politics really is kind of just pushed to the side because they're sending aid to countries in Africa, Cuba, communist countries, countries in the West. They really don't discriminate. It's where there's a need, they will step up and do what they can if they can, and they do a lot of stuff even locally. And again, no, this isn't like a government run thing. They're not going, with a hand out to the government saying, help us so we can run this charity. No, it's all charity stuff. It's
No,
all
it's
donations.
real. It's the way the Bible says our
Yeah.
community is to be. Communism is forced. Community is biblical. It's voluntary. it's charity, and this is the right way to do it. And again, I don't care what nation on the planet, communist or free, fascist or free, if the people, a lot of them have no say in no real say anyway, in what's going on. And if they're in need, we should help them. But also, the Bible does make a differentiation. Again, community versus communism, the unwilling versus the unable. If you're unwilling to help yourself, I have zero obligation as a Christian to you. If you're unable, I am to be my brother's keeper.
Yeah, well, and they've done some pretty amazing stuff over there on the ground in Ukraine too, just getting kids who have lost parents, even families out of areas where you have shelling going on. People are in danger of possibly being killed, and they've helped to just transport people out and even get them to places where they're safe, and transporting orphans as well to places where they can be safe. So yeah, I'll tell you, of all in all the years I've worked as a journalist, done a lot of work with charities over the years, all kinds, right? But this organization stands singularly alone. I have never come across an organization that is honestly run like this one. Every other one has some sort of bureaucratic, infiltration or government connection, or there's always something, but not these guys. In all the years that I've dealt with them,
they sound like in the U.S. Samaritan's Purse. Indeed, another great. And you could go to terrorstrikes.info/charity. Charities in the United States that I have personally vetted, like you have vetted them, the good ones, because indeed, like a Red Cross or unfortunately a Salvation Army now, and especially like a Clinton Foundation farce, most of the money goes to administrative staff. They're supposed nonprofits, but they're for profit. The leadership profits.
Yeah, yeah. Even when you look at the United Way, they have a huge administration. A lot of the money goes to administration, salaries for people, and then the money that they collect is, distributed to various charities. But there's just a lot of money that gets sucked up by bureaucracy. But not here. Not here. It's amazing what they do. And the number of people they fed with that last transport of food that came from, like, down in the Leamington area, Joseph, maybe you're aware, but huge greenhouse industry down there, right? Agriculture and food processing. So they went down there and they got all this dehydrated vegetable mix or whatever, and it very efficient to send it over there, nutritious food, and fed, what did he say, 200,000 people or something?
Yeah,
Amazing.
not really an MRE, but almost like survivalist food. That stuff lasts a long time. Like rice. Rice is a wonderful miracle food. Rice, as long as you keep it in a cool, dry place, will last a long, long time and make many meals for many people.
Yeah, so pretty amazing stuff. Anyway, gentlemen, it's the clock is ticking. Time is marching on. I'll throw it over to you first, to Dragon, for a final comment, and then over to Joseph.
Well, my final comment for tonight will be, guys, I wish you all a beautiful weekend of the Canada festivities. I wish you all a beautiful Canada Day. If we don't see each other still then, and please, the thumbs up, subscribe, and yeah, you know where to find me, right? So up to you guys. Have a good one.
Yeah. Yeah, happy Canada Day to my Canadian friends, and I still have a lot of them over there, even though, like I said, I don't make it to Windsor like I once used to. And happy 4th of July coming, thankfully, Thursday. Every 4th of July, and this really relates to the U.S., but it does to Canada Day in a way. every year I watch on the 4th of July a Zucker film, you know, the guy that did Airplane, and it's got Leslie Nielsen, the guy from Air. It's a comedy with very, very serious undertones, and it's called An American Carol, based on A Christmas Carol, where there's a Mikey Moron, as I call him, mockumentary filmmaker who wants to eliminate the 4th of July holiday. And he's met by three spirits that try to correct the error of his ways. A very serious film, but yet a comedy. I recommend everybody in the US and even Canada, with your fascistic idiot Trudeau up there now. I don't doubt somewhere, whether we've heard it or not, there's somebody who wants to eliminate Canada Day, like the left does want to eliminate the 4th of July here. And to, was it Betty that I mentioned before? Satan may be ruling this planet, but we as Christians, speaking to my fellow Christians now, I'm worried about some of my fellow Christians. You can't be holier than all. You've got to remember, shall be known by fruits also. And you reap what you sow. If you sow nothing, that is inaction, and you will not be held harmless for the rotten fruit we're all choking down because you failed to get off your butt and reap or sow and tend to the garden. We must act while on this planet, not be aloof and say, oh, I'm not going to be involved in politics. No, Jesus was involved in politics. Remember, he overturned the tables of the money changers. We are to act, not just pray. 2 Chronicles 7:14. Pray and turn from wicked ways. I shall hear in heaven and heal your land. Turn from wicked ways. That implies action. You must attempt to get our nation to turn from its wicked ways, and God will help. He won't wave a magic wand. You must get off your ass and do things.
And
Well
I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Thank you, everybody, for joining us here on the program tonight. I'll be back 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. Love y'all. Catch you on the flip side.
This has been a Maverick Multimedia production.